Have you noticed something strange while shopping at Walmart? Maybe that favorite frozen dinner or snack you've been buying for years just disappeared. No low stock, no clearance bin, just gone. It's not just you. Across the country, beloved foods are quietly vanishing from Walmart shelves. These aren't seasonal items or temporary shortages. We're talking about everyday staples you could always count on. But what's really going on here? These disappearances tell a much bigger story. Rising costs, supply chain troubles, corporate decisions, and changing consumer tastes are rewriting what we see in stores. And the truth is, our entire food system is far more fragile and selective than many of us realize. Stick with us as we uncover the 8 Walmart foods you'll never find again, what's really behind their disappearance, and what it all might mean for the future of your grocery shopping. Trust us, you'll never look at store shelves the same way again. Before we jump in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and tap the bell icon to stay in the loop on our latest videos. Now, let's dig into the disappearing foods and their shocking backstories. Point 1. Powdered milks. Quiet disappearance. Have you noticed that powdered milk, a trusty pantry staple, seems to be vanishing from Walmart shelves? It's not just you. It used to be a practical go-to for families in rural areas, campers, and anyone building emergency food supplies has become hard to find. And the reasons behind its disappearance reveal much bigger challenges in our food industry. Powdered milk was never flashy, but it was reliable. With its long shelf life and easy storage, it played a vital role in households looking for backup options when fresh milk wasn't available. Now, however, those convenient little packets are disappearing. And it's not just a temporary hiccup. It's the result of mounting pressure across the dairy industry. Picture this: farmers dealing with severe droughts in some areas, while others face damaging floods. Both extremes hit feed crops hard, and when cows don't get enough food, milk production drops dramatically. And since powdered milk requires extra steps like pasteurization, dehydration, and packaging, manufacturers are prioritizing liquid milk to meet faster-moving demand. Here's another twist. Making powdered milk isn't cheap. It takes a lot of energy to dry liquid milk into powder, a process that depends on industrial machines running at full power. With energy costs rising globally, companies are cutting back on these energy-heavy production lines to save money, leaving powdered milk on the chopping block. But that's not all. The industry-wide labor shortages since the pandemic haven't helped either. Companies struggle to find enough workers to staff processing plants. And when resources are stretched thin, decisions have to be made. Unfortunately for powdered milk, it doesn't bring in fast sales, so it's often left behind. Finally, there's the cold hard data. Walmart and other retailers rely on sales numbers to decide what stays on shelves. If powdered milk doesn't sell quickly enough in certain areas, it's pulled to make room for higher demand products. But here's the thing. That decision overlooks the product's importance for preparedness and long-term food security. Point 2. Where did the large bags of dry beans go? Have you noticed how those jumbo bags of dry beans are nowhere to be found at Walmart lately? I'm talking about the 10 or 20-pound bags that used to be a go-to for families, meal preppers, and anyone filling up their pantry on a budget. Now, all that's left are the tiny 1 to 2-pound bags, often with a higher price per pound. What's really going on here? First off, it starts at the farm. Farmers are ditching beans in favor of crops that pay more, like corn and soybeans. Why? Corn and soy get better subsidies and are in high demand globally for things like biofuel and animal feed. Beans, sadly, just don't rake in the same profit. Less land for beans means fewer crops, and as a result, bulk packaging is the first thing to be cut. Then there's the cost of processing and packaging. Big bags are a hassle. They need more storage space, stronger materials, and they're harder to transport. Plus, with rising fuel and labor costs, businesses would rather sell smaller, easier-to-move packages. Believe it or not, it's more profitable to sell 5 small bags of beans than 1 giant one. And there's shelf space to think about. Retailers like Walmart base their stock decisions on sales data. If the large bags weren't selling fast in your area, they got nixed. On top of that, shelf space is increasingly handed over to high-margin snacks and processed foods. Unfortunately, bulk dry beans just don't fit that model. But here's the kicker. For families and people who rely on beans as an affordable, protein-packed staple, this shift hurts. It's no longer as economical to stock up, which impacts low-budget meal plans and emergency food storage alike. It's a small change with big consequences, showing how profit-focused logistics and supply chains are reshaping even the most basic pantry staples. Point 3. What happened to specialty canned soups? Remember those specialty canned soups you used to find in Walmart? Thai coconut curry, Tuscan white bean, fire-roasted corn chowder. They weren't just soups, they were little luxuries in a can, offering bold flavors and better ingredients. But lately, these gourmet blends have vanished, leaving shoppers stuck with the same old chicken noodle and tomato. What's going on? Well, the truth is, these specialty soups didn't just disappear randomly. It's part of a larger shift in the food industry, where decisions are driven by production costs, supply chain challenges, and retail strategies. Specialty soups require unique ingredients like roasted vegetables, imported spices, and rich cream bases. Sourcing those items isn't easy, especially when global supply chains are stretched thin. Producers are prioritizing simpler recipes that are faster and cheaper to make. Labor shortages and rising transportation costs also play a role. It's easier for manufacturers to churn out gallons of basic soups than manage the delicate process of producing niche flavors. And since specialty soups don't sell in the same massive quantities as their mainstream counterparts, they're the first to get cut when budgets are tight. Retail strategy is another nail in the coffin. Walmart shelves are a battlefield for product. Every can has to earn its place by selling quickly. If a Tuscan white bean soup doesn't move fast enough in certain stores, it's yanked. Shelf space is increasingly allotted to fast turnover products, with higher profit margins, and niche items just can't compete. The impact of this disappearance goes beyond just losing a flavor you liked. Specialty soups served a real purpose. For people without the time or means to cook fresh meals, they offered a convenient way to enjoy something satisfying and a bit different. They were also a great option for stocking pantries during busy times or in case of emergencies. As these soups fade away, it's a clear sign of how the food industry reacts under pressure, choosing efficiency and mass production over diversity and quality. The question is, how do these shifts affect our ability to find nutritious, convenient, and accessible options? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to hit that like button. Point 4. The mystery behind missing snack favorites. Have you noticed some of your go-to snacks are no longer on Walmart shelves? You're not imagining it. From flavored chips and limited edition cookies to niche granola bars and specialty crackers, many familiar treats are quietly disappearing. But why? The answer lies in a complex mix of economics, supply chain issues, and shifting trends. Here's what's happening. Walmart, like most major retailers, has limited shelf space. Every product must prove its worth in terms of quick sales and solid profit margins. If a snack doesn't sell fast enough, or if it costs too much to restock, it's cut. Unfortunately, that puts snacks with unique flavors or higher production costs at the front of the line to disappear. Another factor? Consumer shopping habits. During the pandemic, people stockpiled essentials like rice, canned goods, and frozen vegetables. That shift meant snacks, especially newer or more experimental ones, didn't sell as well. Retailers took notice and began reducing variety, streamlining their inventory to focus on high-demand staples. It doesn't stop there. Many snacks rely on specialized ingredients, like imported spices or specific oils, and rising production costs have made these harder to secure. Add in fuel price hikes and ongoing labor shortages, and suddenly snack production becomes an expensive business. To cut costs, companies lean on their top sellers and ditch slower-moving products. Then there's packaging. Think those metallic-lined chip bags or individually packaged snack packs. When materials like plastic and aluminum became scarcer and pricier, these snacks were often the first to go. Simpler packaging options became the priority for more universally popular items. For shoppers, this means fewer choices and often higher prices for what's left. But this trend isn't just about your favorite snacks taking a backseat. It reflects a bigger issue. The food industry is recalibrating for resilience, focusing on efficiency and stability as supply chains remain under pressure. Unfortunately, that means losing the little luxuries and variety we once enjoyed. Point 5. The disappearance of canned chicken breast. Canned chicken breast might not grab headlines, but for convenience, long-term storage, or emergency prepping, it's a superstar in the grocery world. Packed with protein, shelf-stable, and versatile enough for soups, salads, casseroles, or quick sandwiches, it's been a reliable staple at Walmart for years. But lately, shoppers are noticing those trusty cans are vanishing. What's going on? This isn't just a simple stocking issue. It's a ripple effect of deeper problems affecting the poultry industry. For starters, feed prices for chickens have skyrocketed. Global droughts, conflicts, and disruptions have driven up the cost of grains like corn and soy, making it more expensive to raise chickens. And when those costs go up, they trickle down to how quickly chicken products can be packaged and delivered. Labor shortages are adding to the problem. Processing plants are struggling to keep up due to fewer workers, meaning slower production and backup delays. Then there's the issue of packaging. Canned chicken relies on aluminum cans, but that metal has become harder to source and more expensive to produce. With skyrocketing global demand for aluminum, companies are prioritizing other high mix meter items like soda and beer over canned meats. The result? Fewer cans of chicken making their way to your shelves. Now, layer in how the pandemic changed consumer behavior. During those years, canned goods became a lifeline. Demand for shelf-stable proteins surged, but manufacturers couldn't keep up with the production challenges. Instead of finding solutions, many simply stopped restocking items, especially those with tight profit margins like canned chicken. Here's why this matters. For people focused on preparedness, canned chicken isn't just a mealtime convenience. It's one of the few ready-to-eat proteins that don't need freezing or cooking. Losing access to it means fewer reliable protein options for emergencies or long-term food storage. This disappearance is more than just a missing grocery item. It's a reminder of just how fragile our food supply chain really is. Point 6. The disappearance of bulk rice bags. Have you noticed those jumbo 10-20-pound bags of rice are nowhere to be found at Walmart lately? It's not just a stocking issue. This quiet exit points to a much bigger disruption in our food system, and it's one that could leave shoppers feeling the pinch. Rice, a global staple known for its affordability, long shelf life, and versatility, is now becoming a casualty of multiple pressures. Extreme weather events in key rice-producing regions, like India, Pakistan, Thailand, and the southern U.S., have been wreaking havoc on harvests. Droughts scorch crops, floods destroy fields, and entire growing seasons are derailed. When the source dries up, the supply chain starts to crumble. Even when rice is successfully harvested, transporting it is another challenge. Rising fuel prices and soaring freight costs are making it pricey to move hefty bulk bags. On top of that, big bags take up more space in warehouses and on store shelves. From a retailer's perspective, smaller packages just make more sense. They're easier to stock, ship, and sell quickly. But what does this mean for you as a shopper? A lot, actually. Bulk rice is one of the most economical foods per serving, relied on by families stretching their budgets as well as those prepping for emergencies. Smaller packages not only mean higher prices per ounce, but they also make it harder to build a stockpile without spending more. This shift isn't just about saving space or cutting costs. It reflects a larger trend in the food industry. Convenience and short-term consumption are being prioritized over long-term preparedness. And while that might be fine when everything's running smoothly, it leaves us more vulnerable during times of food insecurity. The disappearance of these bulk bags is a small, quiet signal with major implications. It's a sign that the foundation of our food supply is shifting, and not in a way that supports resilience or affordability. Point 7. The decline in frozen vegetable variety. Have you noticed the frozen vegetable selection at Walmart isn't what it used to be? Gone are those diverse options like stir-fry blends or California medleys. Instead, the shelves are looking sparse, with just a few basic choices like peas or broccoli cuts. If you've been wondering why, get ready for the full story. Frozen vegetables are a go-to for so many reasons. Affordable, long-lasting, and an easy way to get some nutrition into your meals. But behind the scenes, their disappearance is tied to a web of challenges affecting the entire food industry. First, labor shortages. From harvesting and washing to chopping and packaging, frozen vegetables rely on workers at every step. And here's the problem: not enough people are available to keep things moving. Since the pandemic, staffing in food processing plants and warehouses hasn't bounced back, which means less production and fewer options for you at the store. Next up, energy costs. Freezers don't run on thin air. Keeping those frozen veggies ice cold takes a ton of electricity and fuel. With energy prices climbing, companies are cutting corners by limiting freezer inventory to only the best sellers. That's why you'll still find staples like green beans, but say goodbye to specialty mixes. And it doesn't stop there. Consider the ripple effects from panic buying during the pandemic. Remember how freezer aisles were cleared out overnight? That demand surge left producers struggling to catch up. Instead of bringing back dozens of varieties, they shifted focus to producing the essentials in bulk. For Walmart, this makes financial sense. Fewer choices mean less risk and easier logistics. But for shoppers, it's a different story. The loss of variety forces us to pay more for less, leaving fewer creative options for family meals or meal prep. At first glance, this might seem like a small inconvenience, but take a closer look and you'll see the warning signs. The frozen vegetable aisle, once a symbol of dependable food access, is now shrinking, revealing deeper cracks in our global food system. Point 8. The disappearance of breakfast cereal favorites. Who doesn't love strolling down the cereal aisle, where endless options once catered to every craving? But if you've noticed your favorite breakfast crunch is suddenly gone at Walmart, you're not alone. The cereal aisle is shrinking, and there's a lot more going on than meets the eye. Breakfast cereals have always been a household staple, offering something for everyone, from sugary, kid-friendly classics to high-fiber, health-focused blends. But recently, shelves that used to hold an explosion of choices now feel empty. The reason? The food industry is under serious pressure. One big factor is rising costs. Grains like corn, wheat, and oats have become more expensive due to unstable weather, global conflicts, and spiking fuel prices. Add the cost of packaging materials like cardboard and plastic, and manufacturers are forced to make cuts. Guess which products are first on the chopping block? Niche cereals, specialty flavors, and those fun seasonal additions you get attached to. Changing consumer preferences are making things tricky too. Over the past decade, more people have started avoiding sugary, artificial cereals. While companies rushed to create healthier options with simpler ingredient lists, these healthier cereals often come with higher price tags and don't always hit mass appeal. And then there's Walmart's logistics strategy. Retailers like Walmart are streamlining to prioritize products with fast turnover. If a cereal is slow-selling, region-specific, or appeals to a niche crowd, it's more likely to be phased out. Why? They need shelf space for items that sell faster and produce bigger profits. This shift might seem like just clever business to some, but for shoppers, it's a frustrating loss of variety. Whether you're relying on a specific cereal as part of a controlled diet, trying to appease a pick eater, or simply missing a flavor you grew up with, the impact hits close to home. When your breakfast favorite vanishes without warning, it's a reminder that the food aisles we take for granted are changing. Behind every empty shelf, there's a complex story of rising costs, shifting demands, and a food system focusing on efficiency over variety. Have you lost your favorite cereal to this change? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more insights into how our food world is evolving.